You guys all know her very well. She's got a very popular radio show, TV show, and I'm very proud to introduce her right up there at the very top where she's very noticeable to the world. Give it up for Laura-Lynn Thompson!
So I just want to declare something to you, that they're all talking about a second wave. You are the second wave. I want to let you know that if any of your loved ones get sick, hydroxychloroquine, I've been on it for 14 years. Not one doctor ever told me it was dangerous. Not until Donald Trump happened to mention that hydroxychloroquine might work. Well, all the leading expert doctors say that hydroxychloroquine with zinc works. So I want to come out of the closet about something. I love Donald Trump.
Well, folks, here's a little something to let you know about. It's not just Laura-Lynn Thompson who loves Donald Trump. It's tens of millions of people in the United States, millions and millions of people around the world. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa for a special shortened version of a special feature with Laura-Lynn Thompson, who will be on with us in just a few moments. So there you saw her in Vancouver recently at a rally a couple weeks ago as people turned their nose up at totalitarianism. Not exactly a shrinking violet, and hopefully we'll have her on here in just a moment. And I'm sorry for the short notice, folks, but she was not able to come on earlier, and so we've had a bit of a snafu. Didn't have her on the stream earlier, so we're just waiting for her to come on. She did promise to come on at about 10 after, so hopefully I have her shortly, just waiting for her to come up on the Zoom window. But in the meantime, folks, that's Laura-Lynn Thompson, who's a Canadian, and she's kind of a no-nonsense sort of person, in case you're not familiar with her. Not exactly a shrinking violet, not afraid to speak her mind and tell it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. And so in this shortened version of this conversation with Laura-Lynn, we'll go for about 30 minutes or less, and we'll just cover some quick issues, and just so that we can make up for the fact that we missed her earlier, folks. So welcome into the stream, wherever you find yourself around the world, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to Chris Wyatt Africa. I hope you're looking forward to this brief conversation with Laura-Lynn Thompson, who's quite a force of nature up there in the Great White North. Anyway, so we'll have her here in just a few moments, waiting for her to come on, and it should be epic. So we've had some really interesting guests here of late. Had Dr. Victor Davis Hanson on the channel a couple weeks ago, and he was brilliant, followed by Dawn Kiefer, Pennsylvania's representative for the 92nd Congressional District of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, my state representative right here. She was on the channel. And then after her, of course, also had the next day, Daniel DiMartino, a PhD candidate in economics from Columbia University, a political refugee, in essence, from Venezuela, trying to convince America that the lunacy of people in our Congress who are advocating socialism is simply the wrong path. Venezuelan who's lived that experience, who knows the story about what happens under socialism, he can tell you the story. So Dan DiMartino was on the channel, and we've had other interesting guests as well. This weekend, along the political vein, also had A.F. Branco, Tony Branco, the political cartoonist and satirist from the Pacific Northwest, who does biting, insightful cartoons about the political situation here in the United States. He's quite amazing, and he was a great guest. Today, following on that line, a long political discussion here for the segment on the Chris Wyatt Africa channel, Liberty Under Assault, Politics of the USA. We have Laura-Lynn Thompson, who is not an American, but a Canadian. But nonetheless, we're going to have her on. And so just waiting for her to come on right now. Let me just double check and see what's going on, folks. So I don't want to start to feel like Charlie Brown here, where Lucy keeps pulling the football out from under you guys. I'm not doing that to you intentionally. We actually do intend to have her on here in just a moment, folks. So thanks for tuning in. And got a lot of questions for her. We're going to try to cover it pretty quickly in a short time that we have. And hopefully we'll have her back on the channel again sometime for a more in-depth discussion. Or who knows, maybe she'll invite me onto her channel. We'll see. But just waiting for her to tune in right now. Anyway, so yeah, so after this, folks, in case you are unaware of it or you haven't caught updates from YouTube, because you know how YouTube updates you when they feel like it, not all the time. There will be a stream after this with Joe Emilio, the American comedian based in the Western Cape in Cape Town, who will be on the channel. We'll be talking about his recent 12-minute video that's kind of hashtag Footsec ANC. So we'll be talking about that and what's going on in Joe's life and having a conversation. For those who missed it over the weekend, Jeremy Nell, who had his live streams shut down by YouTube, was a guest on my program for just a conversation. We just chewed the fat for well over an hour there. That was actually a lot of fun. That was Saturday night. Jeremy Nell came on the channel. Quite awesome. I hope you guys got a chance to see that. Also, for those who are looking for my Heritage Day stream, I'm still blocked because I can't delete the music fast enough from it. They're very slow in deleting the music, so I'm waiting for YouTube to continue trimming out those songs. And once they've done that, then I will be up and ready to go with that one. And you'll be able to go back and watch the Heritage Day stream, minus the songs, folks. Got the copyright claims on the songs, including the ones I have the copyright for, so a bit frustrating. And I'm just double checking here and not there yet. So just double checking my mail to make sure nothing's happened. But she said she'd be up at this time. So we're just waiting for Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson to make an appearance on the channel. Should be happening shortly. And we'll just be on for a short while, folks. So thank you for your indulgence and your patience. And also, thanks for the viewing. Over the weekend, I had 1,000 hours of content viewed. Not my best day ever, but certainly the best day since I returned from my trip with Catholic College, or Wyoming Catholic College, out there in the Wind River Range of Wyoming. It was the absolute best day since I got back. I started to get a little concerned about whether people had interest in the channel, as the number of things happening were a bit lower than I anticipated. But since I've come back, it's been climbing up steadily, and we hit 1,000 hours of content viewed over the weekend. So thank you so much. And then even yesterday on Sunday, it had dropped back to 9 something, but that's still quite good. And thank you for your support for the channel, folks. While we're waiting, have the fires in California been brought in control? No, they haven't, Keith. That's quite a mess, and that's not an unusual thing. I find it interesting that every year we hear this nonsense from these folks who acted as if this has never happened before. But, I mean, of course, wildfires are an annual occurrence, well, a year-round occurrence in some cases in California and in the West. So this is not exactly something new. So it's a little frustrating for folks to act as if this has never happened before. So it just drives me nuts. But let me just get out of this so I don't want to, here we go, come on. All right, so just trying to get caught up here on the stream really quickly, folks. I don't want to have music playing in the background. So, no, the wildfires are still not under control, and I wouldn't expect them to be under control anytime soon. Let me just double check. No, still flying solo over there, just looking in the Zoom window to make sure whether I missed her or not. And anyway, so we're just getting up to speed here with, there we go. Now I'm getting an ad on my side. You gotta love that. Catherine Piper says, hello, Colonel Chris. Well, hello to you, Catherine. Good to see you. Video will play after this. Okay, so that's live up for me now. And we've got a live stream on this side, just double checking stats and everything. So we're looking good here, just waiting for Laura-Lynn. All right, still flying solo. Okay. Okay. All right. The video is published as running live now. Okay. Anyway, folks, while we wait for her, as I said, Joe Emilio will be on the channel. Joe has been asking to come back on the channel for some time. Can I get a MAGA hat to South Africa? Carlo, good luck with that. I allowed myself to be, oh, here we go. Laura-Lynn's coming. I allowed myself to be taken in on that one, and we're still trying to get them sorted out in customs South Africa, somebody that wanted them in South Africa. The MAGA hats to South Africa mission was, oh, sorry about that. I got Laura-Lynn on the channel there. She's doing last second things there. Sorry about that. Let me straighten out the screen here real quick. There we go, and I've got her on the bottom left there. There you go. All right. Your mic is on mute, Laura-Lynn. There. All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming in. Gosh, folks, my apologies. We had a snafu earlier, but there she is, Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson. There she is. Check out that background. I'm sorry, Laura-Lynn. Did you say Vancouver? I'm sorry. Did you say Vancouver?
About Africa, and I was born in Uganda, East Africa.
I saw that.
And yeah, spent 8 years of my life there. So thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with the problem earlier and all of that as well. Thank you. It's a blessing to be here.
No worries, folks. Yeah, her sound was off because I had a thing on this side, so I fixed it now. You'll be able to hear it, but you caught the important part. Laura-Lynn Tyler was just responding to my Vancouver joke, which, of course, famously, Anglos are a minority in Vancouver these days. Ethnic Chinese are actually larger, and you've got two waves of Chinese. You got the Hong Kong Chinese who started making their exit plans in the 80s, realizing that Britain was going to turn over Hong Kong to the Chinese Communist Party. So they started making plans, investing in Canadian banks and businesses and making ties to Vancouver. And so it got the nickname Vancouver. But then the last 20 years, you've seen a big influx of mainland Chinese from under Chinese Communist Party rule who've also come to Vancouver. And when I was in Vancouver the few times in the last 2 years, I've noticed a bit of tension between those two ethnic Chinese communities. Am I overstating that, or is that accurate?
No, it's true. It's there. And if you go digging, you'll kind of know about it. So I had quite a large Chinese constituency when I ran for member of parliament in Burnaby South. And that is the largest populace was Chinese. And so, as you say, you had the Hong Kong Chinese and the mainland, and sometimes there was friction, but at least they worked together to kind of help me to get in. Also, some are very loyal to China, like they don't want anyone to put down China. And then some are, China is the enemy. China is evil, don't have anything to do with China. And then others feel a sort of identity to China. And so it's navigating that is really interesting,
No doubt about it. So listen, we haven't had a chance to talk previously, so this was just like a cold call for both of us right now. So you probably weren't expecting this John Brown abolition beard on a guy that was in the Army. So this
No,
is...
I was. I know who you are.
Oh,
yeah,
you did?
no,
Wow.
I know who you
Wow.
are. Yeah, I was
Wow.
expecting it.
I'm impressed. I had no idea, but you probably then also know that part of my theme or shtick, whatever you call it, is I'm a huge rugby fan, and so I typically wear rugby jerseys on all my broadcasts, and I have about 80 of them, including this awesome one from Canada. So check it out. There you go.
I love it.
There you go. There you
I
go, right
love it. It's great.
And it's also the one I like. I don't like the new rugby logo. This is the original one there where they had the player.
Okay, yes,
so that's much better. I picked this up a couple years ago on the way up to Hamilton when I was expecting the Eagles to defeat Canada, and it was a disappointing tie. Yeah.
Well, I don't follow rugby too closely, but I will take your word for that, and I'm sorry for your loss.
No, it wasn't a loss. We wound up winning right after that, and we got the #1 seed to go to the World Cup. But we lost. We lost all our game. No, it was a tie. I went all the way to Hamilton, and then watched a fascinating game, and the Canadians tied at the end. I'm like, well, that's disappointing. Who wants to watch a tie? It's like watching Parcheesi. That's not any fun.
Yeah.
But listen, you're actually involved in a lot of blood sports, whether people want to call it blood sports or not. You, from what I've seen, speak your mind. You're not a shrinking violet. You don't like political correctness. And I believe, if I misstate this, tell me if I'm wrong, but you're a devout Christian and a conservative.
Yes, I am. And I talk a lot right here in my area in British Columbia. There has been a terrible travesty to parental rights as a young person, 14 years old, decided that she wanted to be a boy. And the court ordered that the father was to be silenced, not say a word publicly or privately. At one point, there was an order he not even speak about this personal situation privately. He did everything he could to stop testosterone shots from being given to this young lady, and the court ordered that at 14 she was able to make the decision, even though she couldn't wear a tattoo or drink a glass of wine or drive a car, she could decide that she could alter her gender. So at this point she has a deep voice that's not going to be able to be reversed. And can you imagine, at 14 we don't really know what we're all about. And so this has taken place. And I also speak out, loudly against euthanasia that in Canada is coming in. It's basically everywhere. They want to have the most liberal laws for euthanasia, even which will enable a minor on a bad day to decide it's over for them and that they would like to end their life. And so these are things, pro-life, different issues that I like to speak out about. And I'm very vocal on my love for Donald J. Trump. And that video, I did a video recently, just a week and a half ago or so, and it's about 330,000 views or something. And Canada is coming out of the closet, because generally we don't talk about Donald because we get in a lot of trouble here. As soon as somebody knows that you like Trump, then, you know, they give you a bad time. So.
Well, it's interesting because on this side of the line, that's the case for a lot of people too. They, my own estimates, no scientific data here, but just anecdotally from watching. I came back from Ethiopia just before the last election, and for my final assignment at the Army War College. And when I was back here, I kind of watched what was going, kept track of polls, kept track of people voting, registrations, all that. And I saw some trends going on here. But what's interesting is that I would say that 5 to 9% of the electorate who will actually vote, not eligible voters, but those who will actually vote, simply don't tell pollsters, simply don't put yard signs out, simply don't share their feelings with family, friends, because they just don't want the hassle, or they don't want to be assaulted. And we've had Americans shot because of Trump supporters. We had a black American, 60 years old, who was a famous Trump supporter in Milwaukee. He kept a sign on his stoop, and they walked by and assassinated him because he had the audacity to support Trump. It's beyond belief. But go back to your point with this intrusion into this child's life. It's like that in the United Kingdom too. I mean, you had the situation where a family that wanted treatment for a rare form of cancer, and the government, you know, the boards, the death panel said, nope, you can't have it. So they found an alternative treatment in the Czech Republic. They were willing to pay for it. It was their child. They took the child there. The child got the treatment. They came back. They were arrested at Heathrow and thrown in prison. The child was put in state care because they violated the state's rules about their parental rights. It's just the overreach of the state and totalitarian march that's taking place all over the world is just astounding.
Absolutely. And I've had on my show a guest from Texas, and he had twin boys, and his wife told one of the boys constantly that he was a girl, and was just some sort of, you know, to me, she has a mental illness of some kind. And she's just pushing him to be a girl, but he would only act like a girl around the mom. But when he was with, you know, the dad and regular folk, he, you know, was totally a boy. And so you see these things beginning to happen all over the world. And these are things that we have to be outspoken about. But I'm very sad to say that unless it's you or I or some 1% of the population of the world, probably far less than 1%. I mean, I'm exaggerating at that point, but people are not willing to speak on these things. And so evil is therefore allowed to, you know, to be promoted. So we'll see what happens. Moving forward, if people are going to begin getting more courage, because now we've got COVID and we've got craziness going on in that regard. We have a Chinese virologist who's saying absolutely blatantly she's fled the country in order to tell the world that this virus was created in the Wuhan lab, or at least was disseminated from there. There's some word that perhaps it was actually created in a lab in the United States, but she's under great fire now. Now YouTube's shutting down all of her stuff, and nobody, you know, wants to talk about it. But Tucker Carlson had her on, and you probably know Tucker, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah. Tucker is not the only, but I would have to say, sorry, Laura-Lynn, that without a doubt, he's one of the few broadcast journalists and investigative journalists who is not letting us down. As I've mentioned repeatedly on my stream, that it was Tucker on the first week of January when everyone was frothing at the mouth about the fraudulent impeachment. Remember the impeachment trial for Donald Trump? Let me run through the list of actual high crimes and misdemeanors he was charged with by the House of Representatives. Oh, that's right. There were none. No crimes, but we had an impeachment. That's a bizarre situation. We haven't seen that since Andrew Johnson, in my recollection. But anyway, I'll stop that. I was getting carried away, but it's so let me shift gears a little bit real quick, if you don't mind, to talk about a couple issues here. So are you familiar with this book? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't know if you can see if you have the screen on or not, but it's While Canada Slept by Andrew Cohen. About 17 years ago. It's how we lost our place in the world. I had a trip up to Canada to deal with some signals folks because I worked at NSA, and this was on the bookshelves, and I bought it and I read this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so spot on. This is what's happened to Canada. It used to punch above its weight in all international affairs, in generosity and participation in global peacekeeping and global conflicts and global discourse, and Canada has just kind of shrunk away in so many ways.
Wow. No, and I'm sorry to say that I'm not familiar with that book, but I do think that that's true. You know, our prime minister, he has had the most, terrible accusations of corruption of any prime minister of all time. He has scandal after scandal after scandal. He has said to a pastor that Christians are the worst part of society. He says that he likes China's way of running government. He is a dictator. His father was a former prime minister of Canada and brought in all kinds of crazy. And so we are extremely concerned about our prime minister and the beginning of the totalitarian moves, the lockdowns that he's imposing on us. And he's not seen well on the world stage. He did a huge bid for a UN seat on the Security Council, and he gave away tons of money of our taxpayer dollars. We're broke. I mean, it's over $1 trillion in debt right now. I don't know. There's never been a plan for how we're going to, get back, down underneath that. And he just, he didn't get the Security Seat Council. There's something very untrustworthy about him. He had a problem when he was a school teacher, and this was many years ago, and there was an alleged issue with a minor student. And that was about to come out right before the last election here last October, but he shut it down and he did hush money and paid for that silencing. So we consider him somewhat of a pedophile as well. And if he would like to, come clean about everything, that would be helpful and restore some trust, but he doesn't. And instead, he gets himself, his wife, and his mother paid huge amounts of money to speak for a charity, which was called We Charity. It's now been shut down. It's going broke because it all came out that they fund lots of dollars from the government to this charity. And they've been friends for years and years and years. I mean, just total corruption. And then they pay them huge personal amounts to be speakers at these We Charity functions. And so then there's SNC Lavalin here. So Canada is not the country that we are proud of right now. And there is a group of us, we're just undone. I mean, the literal anger at Prime Minister Trudeau right now is palpable on the streets. However, he has his liberal left-leaning people and he pays lots into them. And of course, everyone's getting paid to stay home if they want to stay home during COVID. And it's a socialist government that he's bringing in. So we're fit to be tied.
No, I absolutely understand it. Listen, as a young man, I thought that Pierre Trudeau was an absolute disaster for Canada and it could never get worse. Well, guess what? I was wrong. I was wrong. I can't believe that. It
got worse. We've just had scandal after scandal here. And we're praying for our nation and we want it to be restored. And that's why I run in politics as well. I do my live daily blogs, video and broadcast. But I also put my name forward and I take the heat and I run against transgenderism being taught in our schools. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of transgender books in our schools. It seeps into everything. Nobody wants to speak about it because you get put down. But I was the host for the 700 Club Canada here, national daily television broadcast. And when I began to fight the, this indoctrination of transgenderism being put into schools, I was attacked sorely by the activists of the LGBTQ. And I always say activists because ironically, I have these LGBTQ who write to thank me for speaking loudly again, because they can't. If they do, they'll be ostracized. They'll be taken out. They could be shot. Who knows? Nobody's willing to take the heat to talk about these issues, but I did lose my job at 700 Club Canada because they felt that this was not their issue. They were there to, spread the gospel and all of that. And I understand that, but at the same time, I was like, but who's going to stand? Yeah. Who's going to stand for the kids? Who's going to stand for what's right? And so that's what I do. And that's what you do, Chris. And I appreciate you so much.
Well, thanks, Al. I really appreciate it. it's really frustrating because when you take a stand, that people want to say that you're a bigot or you're a homophobe or you're this or you're that. It's like, if you want national sovereignty, then you must be against Mexicans. What? Where did that come from?
Right.
That's idiotic. That has nothing to do with anything. But see, I'm comfortable refuting these things. I'll tell you a quick little story there, Laura-Lynn. So at the Pentagon and at the Defense Intelligence Agency, when I worked there not too long after 9/11, I was at National Security Agency, then I went to Defense Intelligence Agency. I would run at lunchtime because I didn't like what I was doing. I was bored and I get the exercise in. I'd come back, they renovated the cafeteria. I'd walk in, and this is around 2004 at this time. And there was still this discussion about, because the U.S. is the only industrialized country that does not have an official language. And so there was discussion about English should be our official language. So I'd walk in, I'd see some of my analysts that work for me. I'd walk over my shorts, get something to drink, sit down. What are you guys talking about? Oh, they're talking about English again. I said, yeah, well, it should be our national language. Well, you just don't like Mexicans. Who said anything about Mexicans? Well, you're just a typical American. You don't speak any foreign languages. Actually, I speak 6 foreign languages. Well, yeah, they're probably just European Romance languages. Actually, 3 of them are African languages. And when they run out of names to call you, they find out that conservatives are actually the most compassionate, the most understanding, and the most reasonable people out there. That's the leftists that have lost their minds. They're trying to push everything down our throats. And you see that in Canada. You're living it every day.
Living it every day. And because we wanted to have tighter reins on our borders, because here in Canada, we had people marching across, claiming refugee status from New York State. That is not a refugee status country. So they're just picking and choosing, where they want to go. And our government was paying for them to be put up in hotels and easy access to our health care and all of that. So if you fight against that, then you're a racist. If you talk about political Islam, then you're a racist. And you're like, okay, but these people are and we have clips of them saying they're here to dominate the world and all of that, so I speak out against that. And so I get called all kinds of things, but I got used to it. And once you get used to it, if you can actually just withstand the brunt of absurdity, you then become a force that is so powerful that they don't want you to speak. So now I actually get ignored a lot. I put a lot of stuff out. I don't get hate back. I don't get anything. And I get really good views, but they don't want to give me, don't talk to her. Don't talk to her. If she gets a platform, she'll just spew all this stuff and then everybody listens, don't talk to her. Don't talk to her. And so in a lot of respects, I think everybody has to get through that initial phase of getting used to getting the onslaught. Of course, it's getting more dangerous, though.
Yes.
There are death threats and things like this you have to be able to withstand. And with Black Lives Matters, this is a whole new issue. And even Canada's facing it. Recently, a person was attacked because her husband said on Twitter, all lives matter. Wow. Well, the whole community went nuts, called them names, started, trying to put their business down and all that. So, we're in it. We're in it deep, but I think it's time to fight. And I'm glad that you're doing that.
Well, thanks. And I'm also, listen, in answer to full disclosure, I was a person that didn't buy into some of what Donald Trump was selling in 2015 because I had followed Trump for a long time. And back to the 1980s when he was really big in the development area, and he also owned a football team in New Jersey. But I said that to a lot of my evangelical friends. I said he's going to break your heart. He's not a conservative. This guy was pro-abortion at one time. He's been this, he's that, and the other. I said, but you know what? I'm going to vote for him because I can't vote for a felon. His opponent is a felon. She broke the Espionage Act. I was a counterintelligence agent. I don't need a trial to know her own admission she broke the law. So I said I'm going to vote for Trump and hope for the best. And oh my gosh, the guy has governed as arguably one of the most conservative presidents in the last century, with exception maybe of Reagan. He's right up there, if not higher. And it's just unbelievable what he's done. And this is all in the face of determined falsehoods, lies, subterfuge, sedition in my mind. And honestly, some of it's just treason by some of these people, the things that they've done, lying in testimony, coming up with fake documents, creating all kinds of things. And the guy is like the Energizer Bunny. He takes a licking and he just keeps on ticking.
He does. I'm so glad to hear that you initially maybe had these reservations, but that he's won you over. I think that says so much.
Yeah.
And shows, the power of his presidency, that he wins over those that have reservations about him. And so I'm glad to hear that. And, I'd love to have you on my show, Chris, sometime to talk about all this counterintelligence stuff and everything that about, the U.S. and politics, because it's heating up right now. So we should do a show on that.
No, absolutely. You know, it's crazy because it's actually dangerous to support someone politically in this country. And I was very heartened to see President Trump early on declare Antifa a terrorist organization, because they are. Yeah. They are brown shirt, Sturmabteilung, Ernst Röhm, fascist Nazi thugs. That's what they are. That's exactly what they are. Yeah. And the Black Lives Matter, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop on that. I promise you that when Donald Trump wins the landslide election November, the next week or within a day or two, Black Lives Matter will be declared a domestic terrorist organization. It's coming.
Right. Right. And that is what they are. When you see what they've done, the killing, the looting, the burning, what else can you call this? They're out and out say that they're Marxist trainers, and they want to disrupt the heteronormative families in society. I mean, it's time for them to go. This is not America. This is not what we want.
Yeah, it's not Canada either. It's not Canada either. But no, it's.
And I have full disclosure, I'm American and Canadian, and so that's probably why I give a lot of. I pay a lot of attention to what's going on down there.
I won't get into my feelings about dual nationality. I'm well known for that. I don't want to. I don't want to offend my guest. No, but seriously, that's I have been saying since this started in late May, June. After the George Floyd thing was taken, a white supremacist and all these white cops. There was one white cop who did it, and then a Hispanic cop and an Asian cop, the president. But the lie started right there. But ever since this thing started, I have been pointing out that, in my view, it wasn't 9/11 that was the greatest intelligence failure of the 21st century, because that's a lie. Intelligence agencies were prevented from sharing information, and there was no vision at the national level to listen to people who predicted things like this similar. But the greatest intelligence failure of the 21st century is the Federal Bureau of Investigation's failure to identify what was happening when pallet loads of bricks show up in major metropolitan centers and protesters show up and go collect the bricks, and they know where to go, who to throw it at, what to do. This is organized, and there's no doubt about it. It's an armed insurrection, and it's frustrating for you because you get it, but people around the world don't understand. Well, why doesn't Donald Trump do this? It's a federal system, and short of the Insurrection Act, there are limitations on what it can do. But beyond that, it really irritates me what the left says and does, including folks like General Powell and his misleading statements about what Trump has done and not done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know lots about this. I'd sure love if you'd come and educate our audience on things like this from your background. That would be an expert opinion. So I would really love that. And I thank you for fitting me in for a few minutes on your show.
No, absolutely. And we're going to have to wrap up here because I did promise to keep you down to about 30 minutes, and we're just over that right now. But thanks a lot for coming back in. I'm really excited that I was able to get you on the channel despite the problem we had earlier with the snafu. Glad you're able to sort this out and come on and just give people a flavor so they know who you are for my audience. About 70% of my audience is in South Africa, but the rest is around the world, including a dude in Nepal. I have a regular viewer in Nepal who goes by Authentic Max, among other places. So it's pretty interesting. But I don't know how many Canadian followers I have. Maybe because I'm wearing this shirt today, I might get some more. But
maybe that's nice.
But I would love to come on your program. That's very, very, very kind of you for the invitation.
I would really like that.
I
will get in touch with you and put that together. Thank you.
All right, and once again, we were talking about Tucker Carlson earlier. The guy's a gem. He's reported everything. He told everybody about the Wuhan coronavirus the first week of January when the fake impeachment was going on. He's like, there's a virus in China. They're arresting doctors who are trying to tell people about it, and there's millions of people who have left this city of Wuhan, and they've spread it all over China, and the Chinese have no control, and it may be coming to our doorstep. Instead of paying attention to impeachment, we should be watching this. And how prescient was Tucker Carlson?
Oh man, he always is. Like, he has such discernment. He's a man of Issachar, as I would say. That's a biblical term for someone who discerns the times. He has almost a prophetic ability, and here he is operating on, Fox News. It's absolutely fantastic. He is my favorite, and I love Hannity. I love all of them. So yeah, it's fantastic.
If I can ask you one question before you go, because this is what I led the show off with. I played the video clip of you, I believe it was in Vancouver a few weeks ago when their crowd was out there and you came out and you looked like you were in Africa. It looked like you had a Hemsbach horn or something like that. You played it and you said, "You are the second wave." And I love Donald Trump. That was awesome.
It was, and so that video is up at 330,000, right now on YouTube. But it's it is a ram's horn from Bethlehem, and it has engraved on it Lion of Judah, and I don't know if you could see it clearly in that video, but I was beside a huge stone lion.
Yes.
It was an epic moment in Canada, and I did not expect what happened. I said, I love Donald Trump, because I also talked about hydroxychloroquine, which we are not allowed. Doctors are not supposed, like, no one is told to give out hydroxychloroquine with zinc, which is actually stopping the virus. And there's been so much misinformation on it. And I've been on hydroxychloroquine for 14 years, which is why I paid attention, because I was diagnosed with lupus. And yeah, you as well?
No, not lupus, but I've taken it for decades to fight malaria in Africa. It's just all lies, you know. And even the U.S. government comes out and says it's dangerous. That's horse manure. It's a prescribed drug. You can't just walk into a pharmacy and buy it at Walgreens or CVS. You can only get it with prescription. So any competent doctor is not going to give it to somebody who it's going to harm, and it's just lies. So we could talk hours about that. Next time we'll talk about that.
I know, and everyone loved. I said I love Trump. The whole crowd went crazy. Trump, Trump, Trump. And so I said, that's the first time I've ever seen a Canadian audience go crazy for Trump. And so that video is just taken off. So it's really fun, you know, but yeah, I'm glad that you saw that. And, you know, continue to love Trump, continue to pray for the United States of America, and everywhere that you are. I love that hat. That's great.
Well, if that's not good enough for you, got this one. And we take that. We take that one off. I've got the Duck Dynasty one. There you go. Keep America great. And I also have my Trump train hat around here somewhere. So as you said, the conversion is there. But for me, I never had any doubt about voting for the guy. I just wished he'd stop tweeting. But you know what? I don't care if he tweets now, because I love how he trolls the left. It's just comical at this stage. It used to bother me, but I don't care anymore, because the left isn't serious. They're just about hyperbole and calling people names.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right.
Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you, Chris.
All right. With that, Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson, thank you so much for being on. We'll get you back on, and I'll accept your invitation to come on your program. That'll be epic. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, you are a national treasure, and I hope that people in British Columbia recognize that. I see that you're now the leader of the Christian Heritage Party there in BC, and I hope that you guys can up that total, get some members in office, and good luck with that. And like I say, you're a national treasure, and it was great to have you on the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. God bless.
You're most welcome. All right, folks, that's Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson. I'm going to put her in the waiting room and let her go and thank her for her time. And I'm going to finish up the show and then get on to Joe Amelia. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye. All right, folks, there you go. Wow, that was epic. I hope that you enjoyed that. We kind of rushed through it very quickly. My apologies if we were zooming through too fast, but that was Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson, excuse me, I almost got it backwards there, LLTT. Anyway, so thank you so much, Laura-Lynn, for coming on the channel. It was a real pleasure to have you as a guest on the channel, and thank you for being very flexible after the difficulties we had earlier getting on the stream. Very appreciative of that, folks. I hope you enjoyed. By the way, people are asking for how do you find her. Look below the video, folks. This is one I actually put a lot of time in. There's a description, and there will be links to her television channel, to her Facebook page, I think, also to her YouTube channel as well. So please check it out, folks. Laura-Lynn Tyler Thompson. In my view, a national treasure. As they say in Afrikaans, yes, and legend. Yes, and legend, as Kurt Darren would say. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close out here. Please don't go anywhere. Come right back in a few minutes. Joe Amelia will be my guest, and we're going to get started again here in just a moment, okay? So that's coming up in just a moment here on Chris White Africa as I reset the stream. Please hang around for a few minutes, but you're going to have to go to the other stream and come back and join us in just a few minutes. Thank you for being on the channel and following us, and thank you to my guest. She was absolutely engaging, brilliant, wonderful, and I also am very grateful she invited me on her program. I look forward to that coming up. Imagine me on a Canadian show. I'll have to get some maple syrup out. All right, you hosers, take off. Oh, by the way, I didn't ask her the joke about how you identify Canadian. All you have to do is get them to say a boot. That's it. They don't say about the way the rest of us do. Anyway, folks, have a good one. We'll see you here shortly on Chris White Africa. Thank you so much. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Did it again.